With the Civil War over, 4 changes were about to propel railroading into becoming America's dominant industry in the second half of the 19th century. Transcontinental rail lines, Pullman cars, the rise of train depots as a major social institution, and Airbrakes.
The biggest thing on the railroads, technological-wise, was the air brake, devised by George Westinghouse. And before that time, trains had to be small because the brakemen had to go up on roofs and tighten down the brake handles, which would in turn tighten down the brakes on the car. And this was a very tedious process, a very dangerous process, especially in wintertime where the brakemen would literally fall off the cars. And so Westinghouse was able to make an air brake system that would allow the engineer to do all the braking.
George Westinghouse in the late 1800s, maybe on into the early 1900s, invented what was called the George Westinghouse air brake system, where the compressed air generated by the steam locomotive is transmitted down the entire length of the train by these so-called glad hands, things that couple together and allow the compressed air to pass from locomotive to car after car after car, all the way down the length of the train. The George Westinghouse air brake system works by applying air ahead of time, storing it in a reservoir, so the compressed air is actually used to hold the brakes off. And if you ever actually lose the air, the brakes automatically apply.
Today, train depots are a mere ghost of what they were in the 19th and early 20th century, the center of American life.
Well, the depot is a public place, and it's originally built as a sort of temporary stopping point, storage point, warehouse. But the people in the community won't allow that to stay a low-grade service building. People dress up to go to the train station to see the train come in. It's an event. It's a center of town. The main hotel is built across the street from the station. The main restaurants are located nearby. The telegraph office is located there, which provides the news service for the newspapers. Much of the business of the community is rooted through, as all of the shopkeepers get all of their supplies and whatnot from the freight office and the depot, and the passengers buy their tickets at the ticket office and use the train station. So the depot is a focal point of activity in town.
These great pieces of architecture, at least the ones still surviving, have been turned into museums, shops, and restaurants.
The railroads built the depots primarily for their own benefit, but in larger cities they have union depots in which several railroads combine, and the union depots tend to be much more grand and elaborate affairs, often connected with an office building, so it becomes, in a sense, the business center of town as well.
Moving soldiers around like cattle on railroads was okay during the Civil War. After all, General Sherman said war is hell. But during peacetime, and with the arrival of the Gilded Age, passengers wanted to travel in style. An American engineer and entrepreneur, George Pullman, had the answer: the Pullman car.
George Pullman, I suspect one of the things that brought him into railroad history and railroad culture was the fact that he was the one who sort of responsible for designing and engineering the replacement to lightweight passenger cars. Those cars were too individually built. George Pullman designed a car that could be operated over any of the hundreds of railroads that would operate in the United States. And anybody who wanted to could buy a Pullman car. George Pullman, to railroad cars, passenger cars, was kind of the equivalent of Henry Ford might be to the automobile.
With the arrival of the Pullman car, passengers could now travel, eat, and even sleep in comfort as they sped their way across the country. A country that was about to be united by transcontinental railroads.
Hi, I'm Bill Ambrose. If you like this video, subscribe so we can bring you more programming from our studio. Thank you for subscribing.